All right, guys, just a very quick update here. Midday, it is a little bit after 12 o'clock and a little bit later than usual midday update for me because the market is moving a little bit, which is nice. We've got some, so far, S&P opened up here. So we had a very similar gap up than what we had yesterday. So far, this is a little bit different, right? We're slowly pushing to the upside, actually seeing a lot of momentum names. Like if you look at the top of the leaderboard today, I see just some different things. We talked about the cyber names, not yesterday, the day before, showing some signs of life, and they're one of your best performing sectors. That's the CIBR ETF that I look at. You could also look at Hack is another ETF, but they've been showing it's been showing some relative strength. Now I don't know if this is directly related to some of the breaches that we've had related, but I kind of view this group as a little bit of momentum. And you can see here it really hasn't sold off. If you look at the banking chart, KBE or KRE, you've had a complete breakdown, but some things have been hanging in there like this. So, we'll see where things can get to today. I think at this point, considering half the day is gone, what my major question of the day is can we hold on to some areas, hold on to the gains basically. It's a different and again it's a different picture so far. I'm just referencing again that we're only through half the day so far, but different than what we saw yesterday, right? You see some of these areas that have declined. This is the percentage change from the open, right? So it really tells you, especially really helps a lot once we have, once we gap up a bit like we did today, whether or not we're going to hold the gain. So I like to look at percentage change from the open. And you can see that the biggest outperformer, which I think is good from the major indices, is the small caps. That's up 85 basis points or 80 basis points since the open. And again, besides the gold miners, gold and silver are pretty strong today, which is interesting. But you're seeing things like the FANG ETF, FDN is up 1.8% from the open. Interesting energy is doing okay today. There were some oil inventories out this morning. You can see XOPs also up there. So pretty nice to see some things. If we just look at the sectors that are up over 0.5% from the open, you got a nice handful of them. So again, I think that's the main important thing. We've got some names like Twitter, which Twitter has been very resilient over the last couple weeks and is finally making the move higher. So yes, there was some calls today. There were some calls yesterday, and very small stuff, by the way. So I wouldn't really, hang my hat on the call activity. This has been doing it on its own. So the calls that went up today, March calls, basically right around the high of the day. So please, if somebody tells you that, oh, there was calls bought today, the move has been setting up for the last couple weeks in Twitter. I did talk about that in my video yesterday. It did give an ugly looking candle, but that's all it takes sometimes is basically one day can kind of get rid of an ugly looking close, which is what Twitter tried to do yesterday, did not close on the highs. So a reminder too, this candle looks great in Twitter, but you don't know how today's going to close. So, what do? Kind of leave a trailing stop, make sure that you hit some targets and take some risk off. And then if it happens to close on the highs, then you've got your, remaining piece on. So I think that's one of the best moves so far today. I'm also watching, I added Salesforce, so I was able to take 2 targets in Salesforce today, up 4% today. We'll see where this thing closes. We'll see if I want to continue to own Salesforce. If it doesn't hold, I could always take that off. So not a bad deal. I'm also looking at Visa. There was some weekly calls that went up. I'm looking for a swing trade in Visa. I'm not looking for a day trade. But there were some calls that went up in Visa. I also got long so I know position right now on Visa. I'm waiting to the end of the day for that one for a swing trade. I did put on a little bit of a trade in PayPal. That was one thing that I chased a little bit on the open this morning. But I've been watching PayPal. I actually put the chart on Twitter a little bit earlier. But I think that's a good sign as well. So that's the major thing. If you look at some other areas of the market, you could keep an eye on the VIX today. The VIX is down 5% on the day. The VXN, which is the VIX for the Qs, is also down close to 6% on the day. So that's a good sign. Other risk-off areas, TLT bonds are down today. There's a little bit of call activity today in things like Goldman going into 2021, really beaten up. Morgan Stanley, the second day of calls in this one. Note that there is a reversal. You could maybe call this a reversal bar. Look at the Virgin point of control being taken out there for Visa, not Visa, for Morgan Stanley. So I'm not ready to kind of jump in to a bank. I just haven't really liked this group for a long time. But you could see, I don't know, where'd that Virgin point of control go? Let me switch the time frame. Maybe I need to do this a little bit sooner. Let's see. Maybe not be able to actually bring that up. But in any event, there's calls. And basically for the call activity today, you could see it's a lot more. There still is some put buyers in SPY on the open, but you can see that the call activity is much bigger than what we've seen the last couple of days, where we saw puts dominate a couple of days ago. So you go back to today, there's some fire. I mentioned the cyber group is very strong. A little bit of Qualcomm, Zio, which is a small trade, but interesting because that's, I think, the second day that we've seen some Zio. A little bit of Western Digital. I mentioned Visa was just for this week. A little bit of Etsy calls as well, and I think we covered enough for. I like to keep this video 5 minutes long, so we'll end it here. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see where we close for the day. Thanks.